Have your Bibles, turn to Jeremiah, the 18th chapter. Jeremiah, the 18th chapter. We're going to start at verse number 1. Jeremiah, 18th chapter. We're going to start at verse number 1. Jeremiah, the 18th chapter, starting at verse number 1. If you have it, please stand. It says, the word which came to Jeremiah from the Lord, saying, Arise and go down to the potter's house. There I will cause you to hear my words. Then I went down to the potter's house. There he was making something at the wheel. And the vessel that he made of clay was marred in the hand of the potter. So he made it again into another vessel, as it seemed good to the potter to make. Then the word of the Lord came to me, saying, O house of Israel, can I not do with you as his potter, says the Lord? Look, as the clay is in the potter's hand, so are you in my hand, O house of Israel. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, you're in the potter's hand. You're in the potter's hand. So the topic today is in the potter's hand, but I want to talk from a subtopic quickly on restoring broken pieces. Restoring broken pieces. I believe on today, all of us can say at one point in our lives that we've been broken at some time of another. I know you have watched TV. There was a person, there's a company by the name of Allstate. Allstate has a slogan that says, it started out with you're in good hands with Allstate. But then in 2004, they got another spokesman. He said, this is Allstate stand, or you in good hands. So what he was asking is, with the company that you with now, are you in good hands? I can say on today, because I'm in God's hand, I'm with the best company in the best hands that you can ever be in. But everybody cannot say that because everybody is not in God's hands. Some people are doing different things in the world and they're doing what they want to do, and so they're not in good hands. And why did he pose that question? Because he wanted to know the company that you with is not better than them. So God is the same way. Somebody got to get in God's hand on today. So this first point is you got to go to the potter's house. Who we're talking about on today? We're talking about Jeremiah. Jeremiah, the weeping prophet. It says that Jeremiah received a commission from the Lord to go and tell Israel that what they're doing was wrong. And he tried to tell them to heed God's warning. If not, God was going to allow for destruction to come their way. And then they were going to be in captivity. But Israel, how do you know, was a hard-headed nation. They were just like some of us. They wanted to do whatever they were big and bad enough to do. But Jeremiah, he was obedient to God. Because it said that God had touched Jeremiah and had placed his words in his mouth. And that's why Jeremiah was so bold. Even though he liked to cry, he was still bold and he would obey what God said do. So sometimes when you hear the voice of the Lord, you got to listen to what he's saying. A lot of people don't like to listen to God. You listen to everybody else, but when God tells you to do something, you don't want to do it. But God will get you up either one way or the other. So either you're going to be driven or you're going to go on your own. But somehow or another, God is going to get you to go. It says, so Jeremiah hears the word of the Lord. And when he hears this, it said that he did what? He got up from where he was. And he went down to the potter's house. So this is a message for somebody on today. That when God tells you to get up, you got to move. See, there's some people who are content in their relationship. There's some people who are content where they are. Some people don't want to leave their friends. They don't want to leave their spouses and different people. But you got to get up to get a message from the Lord. He's telling you to go, and some people just staying where they are. But he would not have gotten the message if he had not gone down to the potter's house. He said, so I got up. And he went down to the potter's house. He said, but then he observed him doing something. He saw him making something at the wheel. Watch this. He said, he saw him making something. This potter had to be well known. Because he knew who he was, but then he said he called him the potter. So he had to be known to the people there. And so here it is from the beginning of the time. God has the ability to form, and he has the ability to craft us when he has spoken to everything else. But with man, it said that he formed man with his hands, and he began to make him from dust. And so God has been forming us all our lives. And at some point or another, sometimes we just got to start over again. I don't know what happened, but somewhere along the way, you got messed up in his hands. And you need to start over again. So the second point is you get on the wheel. So here it is, that this is a process. I remember when I was in ceramics in high school, I used to be able to make pots. I can't do it no more. But I used to be able to make it, and we had this teacher here who was guiding us. And first of all, you had to get it. You had to get this clay. It was a very dry piece of material. You had to get it, and you had to get it real moist in order to be able to do something with it. Some people got to get wet in God's word on today. You got to get wet with God. God can't do anything with you because you're dry on today. But when you begin to jump in, God can do something with you. But not only that, even though if you had it wet, you had to get it centered in order to do something with it. So when you got it on the wheel, you had to get it a certain way and get it in the center. You had to get it centered in order to begin to form what it was going to be. See, God, when you come to him, when you accept with your mouth and you believe in your heart, and when you believe in your heart, you do all of this, then God can begin to mold and shape you into who he wants you to be. And so all after this, after you begin to center it, you can begin to shape it on today. But don't you know that sometimes on that potter wheel, it'll get a little warped and it'll get out of shape? So guess what you do? You start over again. So a lot of people don't like starting over. A lot of people are content where they are, but you don't want to start over. But in order for you to be what God wants you to be, sometimes he has to reshape you on today. Oh, it's time for you to be restored. It's time for you to be revived again. So here's the thing about the potter. See, the potter has complete control over this clay. See, first of all, the potter has a plan for what he wants it to be. Watch this. The clay does not have a plan for what it wants to be. But the potter has a plan for what he wants the clay to be. He might want to make a vase with some stuff. He might want to make a container with something else, but he has a plan for what he wants it to be. So ultimately, God has the plan over your life. See, you trying to pull and tug, and God is telling you to go one way and you want to go another. But don't you know that he'll still start you over again? And then not after this, all of this. And so sometimes, even because we were born in the world, because of Adam and because of sin, we were born into sin. He designed for us to be. Man did not live up to it. But God gave us a way back. He began to mold us. He wants to shape us in his image. But as we are, just in human nature, we become cooperative, we become unmanageable. But God has to get us back on course. Aren't you glad? Sometimes God, this is just what God was telling him on today. He said, I'm going to chastise Israel. Because I need them to be what I called for them to be. You can't be a chosen people and doing your own thing. You can't be a chosen people and then living in sin. You just can't, God can't use you like that. So you got to get back on the potter's wheel in order for God to do something with you. Oh, some people just like to continue in sin. You begin to wallow in it. You begin to lust. You begin to fornicate. You begin to commit adultery. You lie and you do all of these things. But God needs you to in his image and in his likeness. And when people see you, they ought to see the God that's on the inside of you. Somebody say, I need to be restored again. So here it is. This third point is God has to shape you. Notice what Jeremiah said. Jeremiah said, in the vessel that he made of clay was marred in his hand of the potter. So he made it again into another vessel, as it seemed good to the potter to make. Watch this, and sometimes some people think that the damage is beyond repair. But watch this, I don't care what you did in your life. God can still shape you and mold you into who he called you to be. Watch this, if he used the murderer in Paul, if he used a cursor in Peter, if he used a tax collector in Zacchaeus and Matthew, I know that he can do something for you on today. Sometimes God used the most imperfect people to work his perfect plan. He didn't call for you to be perfect, but he did call for you to be better in this season. And so sometimes you think you might be damaged beyond repair. But guess what? Sometimes I would mess up that clay. All you had to do is lump it back together. Throw it down and then shape it up and recenter it again. And the piece that was messed up, all you had to do is cut it off and begin to shape it up again. Oh, somebody think that they're ruined on today. But God is saying, I can call you to be more on today. Oh, man may say you can't be nothing, but God is saying, I can use you on today. Watch this. That's not a limitation to the number of times that potter can start over again. He can start over as many times as he wants to, because he wants it to reach its full potential and its full purpose. And he wants to be able to do something with this clay. One sister says that he saw that the clay was marred in his hand, which means they were disfigured, it was impaired. And if you translate it, say it was ruined. Somebody say it was in broken pieces. But God is able to restore on today. All you got to do is give him a chance. When you get in his hand, he can restore you. On today, you're not beyond ruin. On today. He had a purpose for Israel. And he understood that Israel was not living up to its full potential. So he said, Jeremiah, can I not do as this potter does? And can I not reshape Israel on today? So the potter began to reshape. He began to restore the piece. Watch this. Jeremiah did something that was important. He didn't start to speak. He just watched. Some people are talking too much. Instead of letting God do the talking. Some people want to talk while God is trying to communicate. Stop talking all the time. It may not be in the way that you want to find it out. God can use them different things to get your attention. Stop talking on today and be quiet and let God do the talking. So Jeremiah just watched on today. And he was quiet in this season. So learn how to watch and be quiet. Wait on the Lord and watch he'll do something for you. People keep asking for signs after sign and he's showing it to you, but you've been talking and missing it. Just be quiet and watch. And God can do something for you. So it said that Jeremiah watched. He begins to be informed on what the potter is doing. Watch this, and then there are a lot of people who are the clay, but they're trying to tell God how to do his job. People are trying to tell God how to be God. You're trying to tell God when to deliver you. You're trying to tell God when to come through for you. Just be quiet. And know that he's God, and because he's God, he has all power in his hand. And he can shape you on today. He knows best from start to finish. He knows best. He knows when to start over again. But somebody say, I don't need to start over. God said, you need to start over. Somebody say, well, I'm content in this relationship. God said, start over. They say, I'm content with my finances. God said, start over. If you learn to listen to God, God can do some things in your life. You'll never reach your potential until you listen to what God is trying to tell you to do. Isaiah in the 45th chapter in verse 9, he begins to talk about it. He said, woe to him who scribes with his maker. He said, let the potsherd scribe with the pot shepherds of the earth. He said, shall the clay say to him who forms it, what are you making? A lot of people trying to figure out what God is trying to make you out to be. I believe in the Bible there's a lot of people who try to tell God how to do his job, but it didn't work out right. Said that Jonah tried to tell God how to be God. And then God allowed for him to be swallowed up by this fish. A lot of people try to tell God how to be God. But when you would just let him work, he'll make you into the perfect thing that he wants you to be. But then it says that as he began to see this potter here, it says he made it again into another vessel. As it seemed good to the potter to make. So if the piece is not good, it's not good to continue to make it, but you just gotta start over again. In this revival season, somebody needs to start over again. God is trying to restore the broken pieces of your life, but you ain't letting God do what he's trying to do. But watch this, after the pot is formed, after it's good to the potter, after everything is gone through, it has to go through one more process. It has to go through the fire. The clay cannot be what it's supposed to be until it's gone through the fire, until it's been tested in his life. Until God has taken you through some things. You can't be complete on today. Why does it go through the fire? Because that's the only way that it can be designed to do what it's been purposed to do. What's the one thing? The first thing is fire purifies. It takes out all of the impurities. Some people got some rough edges around you. Some people got some bad things in your life that God is trying to get out of you. So he needs to take you through some storms and some rain. He needs to take you through hell and high water in order for you to be the person that he's called for you to be. In order for Israel to reach its potential, God had to take it into captivity. God said, I know the plans that I have for you. He said, thoughts of good and not of evil, to give you an expected end. Some people are telling God what to do, but God is trying to take out all of your impurities. So you can be in a better condition than you were in before. But then number two, this fire hardens you. Some people been crying at night. Some people been crying over different things. But don't you know when you go through the midnight hours, that has a way of completing you on today. Why do you say that? Because James said, count it all joy. When you go through divers, trials, and temptations, knowing that this is the trying of your faith. He said, but faith must have its complete work. So you may be complete and lacking nothing. See, in order for you to be hardened on today, in order for you to be better, God got to take you through the fire sometime. But thirdly, it says the fire beautifies. If you ever seen this clay, see, the clay may not be pure before, but when it goes through the fire, it's beautiful because you can paint it then. I ain't never seen nobody paint wet clay, but when it's been hardened, then God can begin to design some stuff on it. God can begin to purpose some stuff for you. He can make you into a preacher, he can make you into a doctor, a lawyer, whatever you want to be. But when he begin to restore the broken pieces, it can become a beautiful thing in life. Once you see the finished product, it looks good and better than it ever did before. Not only that, but fourthly, the fire begins to lighten the vessel. What are you talking about? Clay is always dark before. You've been dark in your life sometime. When you weren't fit to live, you weren't fit to die. God came into your life with his bright sunshine, and he began to lighten you on today. He drove out the darkness in your life. All the dark things that were in your life when you went through the fire. You can't help but to run to God. So it brightened you on today. But this fifth and final point, you got to trust the potter. He said, he began to speak to Jeremiah. He said, then the word of the Lord came to me, saying, O house of Israel, can I not do with you as this potter, says the Lord. Look, as the clay is in the potter's hand, so are you in my hand, O Israel. I believe on today, in this time,
Yes, sir.
There's some people that needs to be restored on today.
Yes, sir.
You might be broken all into pieces.
Yes.
But God can restore you on today.
Yes, sir.
I know what all states said, but I know in the potter's hand.
Yes, sir.
I'm in the best hands that I can be in on today. So I gotta trust God on today. When He begins to form me and shape me, I know He's taking me through it for a reason.
Yes, sir.
Is there anybody here on today that know that you're in the best hands that you can be in? Is there anybody here on today that ever tried going down to the potter's house? I know I was messed up in my life, but it said that God can pick you up and turn you around. He can place your feet on solid ground. Have you ever tried entrusting yourself to the potter? Is there anybody here on today that know you have some imperfections in your life? But when you look down and went down to the potter's house, I say He did something on today. I wouldn't be the person I am now if God can restore broken pieces. Is there anybody here on today that's trusting and depending on God? I know if I'm waiting on God, He will take me on today. I know I've been through hell in my life. I've been through some terrible situations, but God has taken me through it on today to restore my broken pieces. Is there anybody here when you were messed up beyond repair, God sent his son down. I'm glad, I'm thankful that I went down to the potter's house. I met the potter on today, and he's all right on today. He's still in business. He's still fixing on today. It don't matter what people ever say what you're going to be, but because you serve a saving God, he can shape you, he can mold you on today into the best thing that he wants you to be. Listen, it said there was a church that had a very expensive piece of marble. It says they thought they hired a sculptor who knew what he was doing. It says that he drilled a hole in the bottom of it. And so they put a sheet on it. And they covered it up because they thought it couldn't be fixed. But then there was a guy by the name of Michelangelo. He said, let me look at it and see what I can do with it. Now that piece on today is David's piece. It's David's statue, and it's the most beautiful piece in the world. So what you think is beyond repair, God can do something with it on today. God can make some beautiful people out of some messed up stuff. You got some imperfections in your life, that's fine. God can fix you up. The doctor can't do it. Man say it can't be done. They're going to remind you what you used to do. But you can just look at them and say, I'm in the potter's hand. And because I'm in his hand, I know somebody who can restore me on today. At this time, during revival season, there's some people that need to be restored. God wanted Jeremiah to tell Israel that I can fix them up as long as they listen to me and heed my warning. If not, he said, I still got a way of doing it, but they're going to have to meet destruction. Said they mocked Jeremiah. They made fun of him as they told him about this. God allowed for him to be taken to captivity. But again, Jeremiah told him, this is what God says, I know the plans I have for you. Thoughts of good and not of evil to give you an expected end. But what he said is, when you come out of this, I want you to be able to turn your hearts to God. Be praising him. In this time when the world is going out of control, things is going on every day, God is looking for some people who wants to be restored. Not only can you restore him, but he'll shape you into where he wants you to be. On today, look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, if you're in the potter's hand, he can restore broken pieces.